Have you ever heard someone say, don't tell the seller you're using a VA loan, or sellers don't like VA buyers? Well, there is some truth to that rumor, but it's not for the reason you think. In this video, I'm breaking down why some sellers hesitate when they hear VA loan, what parts are actually true, what parts are just misunderstood, and how you as a veteran can position yourself more effectively when using your VA loan. I also created a free quiz that will help you understand where you are in your home buying journey. If you need to sit back and look a little longer, save a little more, if you're ready to house hack right now, or if you should focus on getting a single family home. If this is your first time seeing my video, hello, I'm Tanika. I'm a veteran and a real estate agent here in the Houston area, and I enjoy helping veterans use their VA loan strategically to start building wealth and stability using their VA loan. So let me get into my first point. And if you see the light from my iPad underneath me, it's because my brain can't hold on to enough information at a time to be talking and thinking and all of that at the same time. I just can't do it. So I have everything listed here on my iPad so that if I lose track, I just look down and we get back on it. So back to my first point. A lot of sellers are using old information. And unfortunately, their real estate agents either aren't educating them properly or they don't want to hear what their agent has to say about it. But a lot of the hesitation is based on hearsay, other people's experiences, and not necessarily the seller's actual experience or knowledge about the VA loan, which is actually really sad. Unfortunately, those rumors were started by perhaps sellers who weren't able to get to closing because of the VA loan and some of the VA loan's stipulations. In some of my other videos, I mentioned that the primary purpose for the VA loan is for you to have a safe place to live, a place that you can move into almost immediately. And so what happens is that sometimes a veteran using their VA loan might come across a home that they really like. And then they go through the inspection and appraisal process and they realize that there are some things in the home that the VA loan stipulations consider unsafe. Which brings me to my second point. The seller's main objective is to sell the house. They want to get to the closing table. And so if there's any type of uncertainty, they hesitation immediately. And so they want to make sure that the buyer is able to get all the way to the closing table. And so the main concern is really about risk, which brings me to my next point, which is part of the first point, where the property matters. So if the seller is not completely well versed on what the issues are in their home, or they haven't done like a pre-inspection to see, or if their real estate agent isn't really sure about what the VA will deem like unsafe or what will cause the VA loan to not go through, then they're kind of unsure about whether they can move forward with the buyer or not. So it's not a personal thing for the actual veteran. It's more the loan, I guess, and like safety precautions that the VA takes when it comes to approving a home for you to use the VA loan on. But the most important distinction I want to make is that it's not about them not wanting veterans to buy the house. It's not the veteran. It's the VA loan and the VA loan's stipulations that they're concerned about. So what can you do about it if you're a veteran and you want to use your VA loan because that down payment just cannot be beat? No PMI just cannot be beat. And you really, really, really want to use this VA loan. What can you do? That is where you and your realtor come up with a good, solid plan, because the seller is not just looking at the loan itself. They're looking at the full offer. You want to make sure that you're putting in a strong offer on the home. You and your realtor will come up with a plan based on what works for the seller, what will look most attractive to the seller, and your realtor should know in your area what is making homes more attractive, what's helping to close these deals. So don't count yourself out. It's not only about the loan. They're looking at the entire offer. And if you could sweeten the deal for them, then you have a much better chance of winning the offer, even using your VA loan. So using the VA loan is not a deterrent at all. There are thousands of houses that sell every year with a VA loan. People are using their VA loans, right? So somebody must be accepting those offers. The reputation of the VA loan should not hold you back from trying to buy at all. There are sellers that are happy to accept the VA loan. There are sellers who are veterans themselves and are happy to take the VA loan. The thing is that horror stories spread faster and they're louder than success stories. So that's just going to be what you hear first. It's the horror stories. That's just the nature of us as human beings. It's like we want to know what went wrong first before we shed light on what went right. And I can tell you personally, there are VA loan transactions that just go smoothly. From start to finish, it's just smooth. Here's what I've noticed. A lot of veterans hear, oh, sellers don't like VA loans. And that's it for them. They're done. Like, they decide, oh, well, I can't use my VA loan then. And they start to look at other options and they realize other options would require them to save more money than they had already saved. And then fear comes in and that's it. They're completely discouraged to buy a house. And I hate that for us because it's really just a rumor and a reputation. It's not always the case. During the pandemic, a lot of people were buying houses sight unseen, cash. It was a crazy time in the market. And even in that time, there were people who were using their, let's say, conventional loans, just regular loans, and their offers were winning over cash buyers. Now, in the real estate game, there's the phrase that cash is king. Oftentimes, cash buyers will win because it's a much faster closing. But even in that time, people with regular conventional loans, people with VA loans. I bought my home during the pandemic and I used a VA loan. So don't count yourself out because it looks like the majority of people are winning one way. And so you think automatically you're going to lose if you do it another way. That's simply not true. If I had a friend that was a veteran and they were telling me, Tanika, I want to buy a house, but I'm worried about using a VA loan because the people around me, from what I've heard, the sellers around here don't like VA loans. What I would tell that friend is don't focus on those stories. Just don't. You don't know the ins and outs of why those VA loans were rejected, or you don't know the ins and outs of why those sellers in particular didn't want the VA loan. You don't know the ins and outs of the real estate agent that was representing that seller, right? If you have a great realtor, they can help educate the seller and the selling agent on why the VA loan is the best way for them to go or why your offer is more attractive. I would say focus on being the strongest buyer out there. Focus on making sure your finances look great. Focus on making sure that you are flexible with when you can move in. Focus on getting yourself a realtor that wants you to have that house as badly as you want to have that house. I would tell her to make sure that she's planning. Make sure that her plan is solid. And that's actually why I created a planner. And actually, I'm going to put it down in the description box. The planner is going to help you decide what moves you're going to make on a month-to-month basis. So if you're 8 months out from your lease ending or having to move, it'll give you the steps from month 8 down to month 1 of what you should be focused on, what you should make sure you have in order before you even think about looking at a house. You want to be the strongest buyer. You want to have the best offer so that you don't have to worry about what loan you're choosing. So if you are renting and you've been thinking about buying, but you don't know where to start, this planner is it, and it's absolutely free. Just like the quiz is absolutely free, and they're both down. The quiz will be in the comments. The planner will be in the description. Planning, making sure you're solid is going to relieve a lot of the angst and hesitation when it comes to you buying your house. So I'll leave you with this. And I think it's the trend in most of my videos. Don't take on what other people's horror stories are when it comes to real estate. The horror stories are always going to be the loudest stories. Have a conversation with a lender, have a conversation with a realtor, find out where you are in your journey, find out where you are with your finances and what plan of action is best for you. You don't know the ins and outs of those other people's situations. If you want to buy a house, you deserve to buy a house. If you want to use your VA loan to buy that house, you earned your rights to use that benefit, and you should go ahead and do it. All you have to do is have these conversations. I'll even leave my booking information in the description so we could get on a call and you could tell me all of your issues with the VA loan or the way that you want to use the VA loan, and we could talk about it for 15 to 30 minutes. I'll even help you find yourself a realtor and a lender if I have to. But I want to make sure that my veterans are using their benefits to the fullest extent because we worked hard and we earned it. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you want to see more videos on VA loan strategy, just basics about the VA loan, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I do have a lot more videos to come. If this video brought you any value or motivated you or encouraged you at all to even look into or have a conversation about buying a house, go ahead and hit that like button so that I know that this type of video is valuable and I can make more of them. So thanks for sticking to the end. I appreciate you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.